Happy New Year, everybody. 2022 is upon us, and there's plenty of rugby on the cards. I hope you guys had a good New Year's break or work, whatever it was. Hope it went well. 2022, we'll have a look at some of the competitions that are on and some predictions. Now, you probably can't see it, but I have a grain of salt on my finger. Put that away. Because predictions aren't worth a heck of a lot, especially as far out as we are. The Six Nations, at least we've got the fixtures list out. Rugby Championship, I think that one's still being finalised. The Rugby World Cup 2021, which is the Women's World Cup, which was delayed from last year, is going to be held this year in New Zealand. Plus a few of the club competitions. Let's go through, take a few stabs in the dark, and maybe later on in the year we can see if any of these actually happened. Probably not. But anyway, we'll see how things go. And you guys can let me know your own predictions for 2022, or maybe just things you'd like to see happen. Sometimes it's like your head versus your heart. What are the things you would like to see, and what do you think will actually happen? Sometimes it's hard to distinguish between the two. Six Nations is the first major competition, international one, that we've got. It's actually not too far away, which is very pleasant news. Predictions for that one. I'm going to go and say France to get it done at last. Now, that may seem like a pretty soft prediction because France have got a pretty good squad. They finished the year pretty well. They've kind of had a few guys in and out with injuries, but I had a look at their fixtures list. They got England and Ireland at home, which are pretty key ones, plus the Italian game, so 3 games at home. Away to Scotland and Wales. Now, they did, was it last year or the year before, where they kind of choked it up and Scotland really hammered them? Was it hammered them? But Scotland played really well at home to kind of end France's chance at the Six Nations. That could well happen again. I feel like there's still a little bit of a mental block with the French because there's a long time since they've won a Six Nations, but a lot of these guys have done it at kind of age group level. It's time for them to get it done. So there you go, Six Nations prediction. We're going to go with France. I mean, Ireland have also got France and England away, so that'll kind of be a true test of where they're at. Ireland are also going to be a big contender for the Six Nations this year as well. England, you feel like are going to play that kind of mixed squad between the experienced guys and the youthful guys, so I mean maybe that's a good time to get it done with some fresh guys, but you'd think partly it's going to be an experience building one. I think they kind of bookend the competition with away trips to Scotland and then finish it off with an away trip to France. So that could be a decider, you never know. Wales are away to England and Ireland, which kind of seemed tough. But, I mean, I don't think anyone was giving Wales a chance last year, and look what they did. So I would certainly not write them off. Scotland away to Italy, Wales, and Ireland. It's that Irish game. I mean, Wales as well, but it's that Irish game I really worry about. Every time recently Scotland have been talked up against Ireland, they've kind of fluffed their lines pretty miserably. So, yeah, I'm trying not to get my hopes up for Scotland this year because they've burned me a couple of times. And then Italy, goodness me, away to France, away to Ireland, and away to Wales. They got a home game against Scotland they might be targeting, but that ain't going to be easy anyway. So, yes, Six Nations. I'm going to go France. It doesn't seem like, as I said, that much of a kind of put your neck on the line bid, but with the Six Nations, every year there's genuine competition for who could win it. It's a really hard competition to predict, which is probably my favorite thing about it, is that you genuinely don't know who's going to win it. And there's, you know, multiple teams who can actually get it done. Rugby Championship, like in contrast to the Six Nations, tends to be won by the All Blacks more often than not. But I haven't seen the full fixtures, but I'm pretty sure the All Blacks play South Africa twice away. I can't find the article that I read a long time ago which said that, but I'm pretty sure that's the case, and I don't think we go to Argentina. I think they're kind of doing a mixed fixtures list, and COVID could put pay to all this stuff, but fingers crossed we kind of get it done normally. But yeah, I think largely this is going to depend on what kind of squad the Springboks pick. If the Springboks kind of keep on with the steady as she goes, play the same dudes for the most part, and lack the kind of experimentation, I think they could go and get it done. because the All Blacks are still doing a lot of rotation, especially if they have to play twice in South Africa. I think then South Africa will be the favourites. They only got third in last year's competition, but they played the majority of the games away. The Wallabies, I think, yeah, they're going to have to focus more on the domestic guys. So I don't back the Wallabies this year. If they couldn't get it done at home with the Japanese-based guys in 2021, I'm going to say they're not going to do it in 2022. Argentina, likewise, I don't think it'll get it done. So I think it's going to be between New Zealand and South Africa. But man, Australia could do it just to throw a spanner in the works. Obviously, we'll have a better idea once the full fixtures list is kind of announced. But yeah, there you go. 2021 Rugby World Cup. Hopefully I can go to a few of those games. I think England is, I don't follow women's rugby enough at all, but England have just been all-conquering. England or France, probably. New Zealand at home maybe, but New Zealand had a pretty atrocious tour. And then there's since been off-the-field stuff where one of the players is kind of saying that the coach has been doing psychological bullying or something. I haven't been following that story at all, just kind of read the headlines. But yeah, New Zealand seem like they're in a bit of a shambles at the moment. So it kind of seems like France or England being massive favourites, I would say, but we'll kind of have to wait and see. Club competitions, the URC, probably one of the Irish teams. That's not a sticking your neck out on the line prediction either. Leinster, Ulster have been in good form. Munster, if they could kind of get the monkey off the back and get a trophy. Edinburgh's been in good form, but I mean, Leinster's going to be massive favourites for that one. Again, COVID could disrupt it. It's disrupted massive amounts of it. The Premiership, I'm going to go with the most unpopular pick that everyone would want to be wrong. I reckon Saracens. I know Leicester is unbeaten. But Sarries. I'm going to go with Sarries because everyone hates Sarries, and yeah, they still seem like they're very dangerous. I know they lost to Leicester earlier this year, but it was kind of an unlucky one. And recent kind of, I know they've been in the championship for a year, but recent finals experience, maybe he's going to get it done for them. Top 14, goodness knows, I don't know. I don't follow top 14 anywhere enough. You just put Toulouse out there and go. Probably, maybe. The Champions Cup, again, Toulouse, Leinster, one of the kind of big favourites for it. It'd be nice to see someone else, like, I don't know, Racing 92 get it done, but it seems like a tough one. There's still tours on. I mean, Japan's hosting France, I think, in July. New Zealand's hosting Ireland. South Africa's hosting Wales. Australia's hosting England. I would back the All Blacks to beat the Irish at home. Despite our recent result up north, I would back the South Africans to beat Wales at home. England and Australia at the moment, as I said here at the start of the year, looks the tastiest in terms of how I think that might go. I think maybe Australia 2-1. Yes, I may look silly in 6 months' time, but there you go. Japan and France will be interesting because France, remember, took a pretty experimental side to Australia at the same kind of time of year last year. So if they take an experimental side, it also might depend on how much rugby Japan's had. But Japan could surprise people at home. But yes, there you go, folks. Some predictions for 2021. France to win the Six Nations. We'll say South Africa to win the Rugby Championship. New Zealand will still be kind of finding their way. Joe Schmidt's going to come in, but it's going to be a bit of changes. And the away trips are going to be the kind of key games. That's actually kind of bold because New Zealand win it more often than not. England to win the Rugby World Cup in 2021, the women's team. And then club teams we'll kind of have to wait and see. You guys let me know what you reckon. What would you like to see happen? What do you think we'll see happen? As I said, grain of salt. We'll kind of throw away this one and then see where we are in 12 months to see how much of this actually came true. But anyway, you guys let me know your thoughts. Happy New Year, as I said, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.